Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Just learn to depend on Krishna. This is part 3 of Krishna book, and it's volume 2, chapter 32, Prayers of the Vedas Personified. So just continue reading. It's translated with commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. The word Brahma indicates the greatest of all, the maintainer of everything. The impersonalists are attracted by the greatness of the sky, but because of their poor fund of knowledge, they're not attracted to the greatness of Krishna. In our practical life, however, we're attracted by the greatness of a person and not by the greatness of a big mountain. Actually, the term Brahman can be applied to Krishna only. Therefore, in Bhagavad-gītā, Arjuna admitted that Lord Krishna is the Para-Brahman, or the supreme rest of everything. Krishna is the supreme Brahman because of his unlimited knowledge, unlimited potencies, unlimited strength, unlimited influence, unlimited beauty, unlimited renunciation. Therefore, the word Brahman can be applied to Krishna only. Arjuna affirms that because the impersonal Brahman is the effulgence, emanating as rays of Krishna's transcendental body, Krishna is the Param Brahman. Everything's resting on Brahman, but Brahman itself is resting on Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the ultimate Brahman, or Param Brahman. The material elements are accepted as inferior energies of Krishna because by their interaction, cosmic manifestation takes place and rests on Krishna, and after dissolution again enters into the body of Krishna as his subtle energy. Krishna is therefore the cause of both manifestation and dissolution. Sarvam Kalavidam Brahma means everything is Krishna, and that is the vision of the Mahabhagavatas. They see everything in relation to Krishna. The impersonalists argue that Krishna has transformed himself into many, and that therefore everything is Krishna, and worship of everything is worship of Krishna. This false argument is answered by Krishna in the Bhagavad-gītā. Although everything is a transformation of the energy of Krishna, he is not present everywhere. He is simultaneously present and not present. By his energy, he's present everywhere. But as the energetic, he's not present everywhere. This simultaneous presence and non-presence is inconceivable to our present senses. But a clear explanation is given in the beginning of Ishopanishad, in which it is stated that the Supreme Lord is so complete that although unlimited energies and their transformations are emanating from Krishna, Krishna's personality is not in the least bit transformed. Therefore, since Krishna is the cause of all causes, intelligent persons should take shelter at his lotus feet. Krishna advises everyone just to surrender unto him alone, and that is the way of Vedic instruction. Since Krishna is the cause of all causes, he's worshipped by all kinds of sages and saints by observation of the regulative principles. When there's a necessity for meditation, great personalities meditate on the transcendental form of Krishna within the heart. In this way, the minds of great personalities are always engaged in Krishna. With minds engaged in Krishna, naturally captivated devotees simply talk of Krishna. talking of Krishna or singing of Krishna is called kirtan. Lord Chaitanya also recommends kirtaniya sadahari, which means always thinking and talking of Krishna and nothing else. That's called Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is so sublime that anyone who takes to this process is elevated to the highest perfection of life, far, far beyond the concept of liberation. In the Bhagavad-gītā, therefore, Krishna advises everyone always to think of him, render service to him, worship him, offer obeisances to him. In this way, a devotee becomes fully Krishnaized, and being always situated in Krishna consciousness ultimately goes back to Krishna. Although the Vedas have recommended worship of different demigods as different parts and parcels of Krishna, it is to be understood that such instructions are meant for the less intelligent class of men who are still attracted by material sense enjoyment. But the person who actually wants perfect fulfillment of the mission of life should simply worship Lord Krishna, and that will simplify the matter and completely guarantee the success of his human life. Although the sky, the water, and the land are all part and parcel of the material world, when one stands on the solid land, his position is more secure than when he stands in the sky or the water. An intelligent person, therefore, does not stand under the protection of different demigods, although they are part and parcel of Krishna. Rather, he stands on the solid ground of Krishna consciousness. That makes his position sound and secure. Impersonalists sometimes give the example that if one stands on a stone or a piece of wood, one certainly stands on the surface of the land, because the stone and wood are both resting on the surface of the earth. But it may be replied that if one stands directly on the surface of the earth, he is more secure than the wood or the stone, which are resting on the earth. In other words, taking shelter of Paramatma, or taking shelter of impersonal Brahman, is not as secure a course as taking direct shelter of Krishna in Krishna consciousness. The position of the jnanis and yogis is therefore not as secure as the position of the devotees of Krishna. Lord Krishna has therefore advised in Bhagavad-gītā that only a person who has lost his senses takes to the worship of demigods. And, regarding persons who are attached to the impersonal Brahman, the Srimad Bhagavatam says, "My dear Lord, those who are thinking of themselves as liberated by mental speculation are not yet purified of the contamination of material nature because of their inability to find shelter at your lotus feet. Although they rise to the transcendental situation of existence in impersonal Brahman, they certainly fall from that exalted position because they have neglected to desire your lotus feet. Lord Krishna therefore advises that the worshippers of the demigods are not very intelligent persons because they derive only temporary, exhaustible results. Their endeavors are those of less intelligent men, but the Lord assures that his devotee has no fear of falling." The personified Vedas continued to pray. "Dear Lord, considering all points of view, if one has to worship someone superior to him, then just out of good behavior one should stick to the worship of your lotus feet, because you are the ultimate controller of creation, maintenance, and dissolution. You are the controller of the three worlds, Bur, Bhuvar, and Svar. You're the controller of the 14 upper and lower worlds. You're the controller of the three material qualities. Demigods and persons advanced in spiritual knowledge are always engaged in hearing and chanting about your transcendental pastimes, because this has the specific potency of nullifying the accumulated results of sinful life. Intelligent persons factually take a dip in the ocean of your nectarine activities and very patiently hear of them. Thus, they immediately become freed from the contamination of the material qualities. They do not have to undergo severe penances and austerities for advancement of spiritual life. This chanting and hearing of your transcendental pastimes is the easiest process for self-realization. Simply by submissive oral reception of the transcendental message, one's heart becomes cleansed of all dirty things. Thus, Krishna consciousness becomes fixed in the heart of a devotee. The great authority, Bhishmadev, has also given the opinion that this process of chanting and hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the essence of all Vedic ritualistic performances. Dear Lord, the devotee who wants to elevate himself simply by this process of devotional activities, especially by hearing and chanting, very soon comes out of the clutches of the dualities of material existence. By this simple process of penance and austerity, the supersoul within the devotee's heart becomes very pleased and gives the devotee directions so that he may go back home, back to Godhead. It is stated in the Bhagavad-gītā that one who engages all his activities and senses in the devotional service of the Lord becomes completely pacified because the supersoul is satisfied with him. Thus, the devotee becomes transcendental to all kinds of dualities, such as heat and cold, honor and dishonor. Being freed from all dualities, he feels transcendental bliss, and he no longer suffers cares and anxieties due to material existence. Bhagavad-gītā confirms that the devotee who is always absorbed in Krishna consciousness has no anxieties for his maintenance and protection. Being constantly absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Being constantly absorbed in Krishna consciousness, he ultimately achieves the highest perfection. While in the material existence, he lives very peacefully and blissfully without any cares and anxieties, and after quitting his body, he goes back home, back to Godhead. The Lord confirms in Bhagavad-gītā, "My supreme abode is a transcendental place, where going, no one returns to this material world. Anyone who attains the supreme perfection, being engaged in my personal devotional service in the eternal abode, reaches the highest perfection of human life and doesn't have to come back again to this miserable material world." My dear Lord, it is imperative that the living entities be engaged in Krishna consciousness, always rendering devotional service by prescribed methods, such as hearing and chanting and executing your orders. If a person's not engaged in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, it's useless for him to exhibit the symptoms of life. Generally, it's accepted that if a person is breathing, he's alive, but a person without Krishna consciousness may be compared to a bellows in a blacksmith shop. The big bellows is a bag of skin. The big bellows is a bag of skin which exhales and inhales air, and a human being who is simply living within the bag of skin and bones without taking to Krishna consciousness and loving devotional service is no better than the bellows. Similarly, a non-devotee's long duration of life is compared to the long existence of a tree. His voracious eating capacity is compared to the eating of dogs and hogs, and his enjoyment in sex life is compared to that of hogs and goats. The cosmic manifestation has been possible because of the entrance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Mahavishnu within this material world. The total material energy becomes agitated by the glance of Mahavishnu. The total material energy becomes agitated by the glance of Mahavishnu, and only then does the interaction of the three material qualities begin. Therefore, it should be concluded that whatever material facilities we're trying to enjoy are available only due to the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Within the body, there are 5 different departments of existence known as Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and at last Anandamaya.